when I feel like nothing, always feel like I'm running. Both feel we're living worlds apart. It's fucked now, we lost in limbo. Remembering what you said though, and I asked you if we'd make it far. That one last kiss that they write about, my one last wish you could never doubt. I trust angels who fly away from you, and you told me that we'd never die. Gave me so many reasons why we were meant to be. Then she said no, 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 no. No, 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 you should. I've earned the cost and now I've paid it. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, please don't go. I know my face a memory erasing. Been a few years since I heard your voice, yeah. Lost a few here, but it's not by choice, no. Girl, I see your face every day when I look through my phone. Can't delete all these memories, won't leave me alone. Hit my blind side, never saw you coming. You were so wild, both know I was nothing. And I'm nothing now, nothing's changed. You know I'm just the same. Miss you now, but I hope that someday you explain. That one last kiss that they write about, my one last wish you could never doubt. Trust angels who fly away from you, and you told me that we'd never die. Gave me so many reasons why we were meant to be.
Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, wrong camera. 1 second. Okay, I think I'm on the right camera. How's everyone doing this morning? Thank you so much for joining me. My hair's a mess. Sorry, darling. I'll fix it later. It's early, so 9:04 a.m. Today is the 3rd, March 3rd, 2023, the day Alex Murdaugh will be sentenced to 30 years to life. Last night he was convicted of murder for the murders of Maggie Murdaugh and his son, Paul Murdaugh. And the prosecution and the defense both agreed that this morning, about 25 minutes from now, Alex Murdaugh will be sentenced for his crimes that occurred. Thank you all so much. It is dreary here, and I wanted to just brighten up my spirit a little bit because I ain't seen the sun in 3 damn days. So let me just show you a little something here. Sorry, I'm just looking to make sure nothing's going on at the moment. So the cameras will kick on in about 25 minutes from now. I thought we could kind of go over just a few things. Did you guys feel like in your heart of hearts they got the decision right? Thank you all for the kind compliments. Appreciate it. In my heart of hearts, I feel like they absolutely got it right. I think Alex Murdaugh taking the stand was one of the biggest things that went against him. It opened the door to the financial crimes. I also think that Jim closing arguments yesterday was extraordinarily poor at best. But we haven't heard interviews from the jurors yet, or even if they want to be interviewed. But maybe their minds were made up. Maybe they didn't have any impact in it. But thinking about the prosecution versus the defense's arguments, I mean, yes, Mr. Waters was very, very lengthy, but it was at least somewhat more organized than Jim's. His was just everywhere. Nobody could keep up or anything at all. This is an interesting thing, and a lot of people's talked about this. I do have a lot of compassion for Buster in this, regardless of whether he has potentially done something evil himself. He's innocent right now, and is the only thing that's came up is his name. That doesn't mean he has anything even remotely attached to it. But I have a lot of compassion that a lot of people think this is the moment that he realized his father murdered his mother and his brother.
I know it went back and forth. I went back and forth between it and no idea.
It makes me so uncomfortable for Buster. Whatever you think of Buster, it makes me so uncomfortable for Buster.
The Colleton County portion of the 911 call, which is in evidence as defendant's exhibit number 9. And
there was not blood on Paul's
version.
What's wrong, Fluffy?
Stop it when I stop it.
This is the 911 call.
Oh, honey, hope you feel better. Yeah, but that's just one of those things that you see. It's all over Twitter. It's literally all over Twitter. The moment that, and let's think about Alec. You know how he was showing all of those emotions. He could cry at the drop of a hat and he would shake and everything like that. When the verdict came back, he was stone cold. He was shaking a little bit. I thought he was actually going to pass out, to be quite honest with you. But no tears, no anger. What? I didn't kill my wife. You're saying you know what I mean? No anger. He puts his wrists together and he walks out. Alex got to wear his own clothes to court. I don't know. They may have been bought for him. Who knows? But let's take a look at this. Hold on. I don't know if they were supposed to show this jury or not. Because I don't think they were supposed to show the jury, were they? I think it hit them that they are not untouchable. They are, I liked last night the the prosecution talking, he's like, nobody is above the law. Yeah, I think he definitely looked like he was going to be sick. He never stood up till right at the last. He's very known for doing that. He doesn't He just sits until he has to get up. I don't have any feelings for Buster. I think he is involved with the murder of Stephen Smith. I mean, I understand, Jerry. I mean, I think there's a good chance that he, or at least someone, I'm, I would say I'm fairly certain that there's something, because you have to think right after Maggie and Alec was, or Maggie and Alec, Maggie and Paul were murdered, Stephen Smith's name stems from this investigation. It reopens again. So they had to find something, right? So it's most likely certain. But for me, I think I have to separate them, because if you're on the side of justice, in my opinion, you have to, each situation is different. I can have sympathy that he lost his mother, that he lost his entire family, and that he and the rest of the family deserves justice. But equally, Stephen Smith's family deserves justice. And if that is Buster or anyone else, it doesn't matter who, they deserve sympathy. And you know, I just deal with them on a individual basis. I understand and completely uh accept the way that you feel, obviously, in your opinion. But for me, I just have to do them, right is right and wrong is wrong. Uh, so that's just my opinion. But I totally, I, like my emotional part completely understands what you're saying, though. If you're not for the dog and the chicken, Alex would have not been. Yes. Yeah. I think that dog did it. Yeah. Stephen Smith's death does need investigated. And, it's hard to tell what exactly they may have found since then, because sometimes when you start opening doors, you don't know what's behind those doors, right? Even though they're searching, they were, working on the case for Maggie and Paul. They're investigating different areas, listening to people, and people talk. And a lot of times that opens up a lot of different windows. Now, it would be insanity if you think about it. Let's say a year or two from now, Buster is on the stand. This is all hypothetical, but for Stephen Smith, and then, and let's say this is all hypothetical, he was convicted, Alec would be in prison, Buster would be in prison, Paul would be dead, obviously, and Maggie. So, could you read my comment above, Justin? I can if it's not too far. Justin, the wrong date was read from the floor lady, who I think is the head juror, is February 3rd instead of March. Oh, really? She read it wrong. Okay. It happens. I would say all eyes on him being cuffed and taken away. Absolutely. The whole fam had dirt on them as well as. Yes. It is alleged that Alec his father had talked to him basically on his deathbed and told Alec to fix it, whatever it took for the Murdaugh's name, because nothing is greater in that family's eyes than the name. It's not even the family itself, it is the name of the family and how it is represented. So that's an interesting it's there's such a local, I hate the word dynasty, but it's something. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to find something here.
Griffin. Yes or no question. Before yesterday, did you ever bring up what you told this jury about that kennels to anybody in the prosecution or anybody in law enforcement?
No, I didn't have the opportunity.
Okay, I want to say something right there. No, he didn't have the opportunity. Okay, you didn't have the opportunity. Something that's been going on for a long time now, and you didn't have the opportunity to tell the truth, Alec. I think that is another thing that really got him. He admitted that he was a liar. He has been, about the financial crimes, liar, 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 so many different things. And he admitted it. But the one thing he would not admit on, which is the ultimate sin, is, killing your child and your wife. What do you think happened to the gun that disappeared? I think that gun. So let me talk about that for 1 second. I'm not saying that I think this, but there are rumors that that gun was buried with Alec's father. Sue, oh my God, we got a new member. Guys, welcome Sue to the Justin for All family. Thank you, Sue. Welcome to the family. Say hello to your brothers and sisters. Thank you. In my opinion, Alex Murdaugh was involved in Stephen Smith. Well, before they get Stephen Smith out of the road, even before they get him out of the road, you have two Murdaughs at the crime scene saying, don't worry, we'll take care of this for you. We'll represent you. Don't worry. Now, I don't know about you, but that's suspicious to me. That's extremely suspicious. Someone your son knows. And see how Stephen and Buster kind of got close is Stephen was a very bright young man. Buster wasn't as good in school. And so Stephen Smith was private tutoring Buster. And some things may have, conspired a little bit together between the two of them. Is there a mugshot for Alex? A new mugshot? I mean, there is a mugshot, yes. But I don't think we've seen that, if there's a new one yet or not. I think it's truly that Stephen may have liked Buster and they cannot tarnish their good. So there's a lot of accounts that a lot of rumors, I guess you could say, that the night that Stephen died, his car ran out of gas or it broke down or whatever. He called Buster. And Buster was in the area, but, maybe come pick me up. My car's messed up. I ran out of gas, whatever. He calls Buster. Buster's around the area somewhere, but he's with two other guys. And they pick up Stephen Smith. And, they may have heard the rumors, his friends. And in my opinion, the way I think of it happening is Buster may have, there's nothing proven in this. I just want to make very clear, just my theory. Buster may have beat Stephen senseless because in front of his friends, and the friends may have even helped because he didn't want, it was embarrassing for Buster. It was embarrassing for his family. And I think Buster, maybe the other two guys, beat Stephen Smith and threw him in the middle of the road with the bat. Mhm. Yep, he had no other signs of a hit and run. Just about every single time you're hit with a car, even at not a very high speed, talking 30 miles per hour or something, you are going to be knocked out of your shoes. Period. Almost always. I feel Buster was seeing Steven, his girlfriend, is just for show. I mean, is Buster gay? Who knows? And I don't really care, to be honest with you. The only thing I care about is, finding justice for Stephen Smith. But, I think it would have been embarrassing for him, his family, because they're Southern, they're men's men and, all that. So, but what was their reason for killing Stephen Smith? Well, the reason was embarrassment. Embarrassment because Stephen had told a few people, and there was, a lot of people, even one of the teachers kind of knew it was going on as well. All right, guys, we should be getting pretty close.
Half reports, half statements,
Hold on.
partial information, misrepresentations of Paul that ended up in the media all the time. And when I tell you the social media response that came from that was vile, the things that were said about what they would do to Paul, they were so over the top that nobody would believe anybody would get on social media and do that. But I believe then, and I believe today, that the wrong person saw and read that.
Okay.
Because I can tell you for a fact that the person or people who did what I saw on June the 7th, they hated Paul Murdaugh, and they had anger in their heart. And
I think when he's talking about that, he's talking about himself and the former Alec Murdaugh, the addicted one, the one that was obsessed with money, drugs. He's a narcissist. I don't use that word very often. I know it is so overused, and that's why I don't like, using it that often. And just like the word gaslighting, oh my God, I hate the word gaslighting. It's so overused. But I really believe he is a full-blooded narcissist. Full-blooded. Okay, 1 second. So today there's going to be some victim impact speeches. Court TV's got their cameras on. I'll go back over to Law and Crime if their cameras are like on 3 different ones. Do we know which family members will be speaking today? No, we don't know as of now. I would highly, highly doubt it if Buster would be speaking. I have a feeling that Alec, his brothers, will be speaking. I have a feeling that Maggie's sister family members will be speaking. It wasn't a lot of time for them to really think about what they were going to write. This was fairly late last night, and they said, we'll be here at 9:30 in the morning. Well, here we are. And they didn't really have, they've had to live with this for so long, but it's still, something like that you want to tell the court of how these deaths, this, saga of deaths around this family. And, I was thinking about Gloria Satterfield last night as well. The woman had broken ribs and head injury. She could have, you could say that she could have fell on, and hurt her ribs, but I feel like she may have been kicked or pushed down the stairs, creating the head injury. Notice how all of the people around, Alec, Murdaugh, the deaths, other than the boat accident, they're all head injuries. Really? It's interesting, Rich. Good morning, and Pro Crew. I predict the sentence will be harsh. So, Alex, let me Google. How old is Alex Murdaugh? He's 53 years old. He's 53. So let's say he gets a 30-year sentence, which is minimum. 30-year sentence is minimum for Alex Murdaugh. 63, 73, 83. He'll be 83 a minimum if he gets the minimum sentence. That is also without any of the financial crimes. That's without any of the financial crimes attached to it, which he could face up to 700 years for the financial crimes combined. No, the financial court, that's still, that still hasn't been taken to court yet. Life without parole. I think it'll be life without parole. But, facing up to 700 years for the financial crimes. Hello, Guys, do me a favor. We don't have enough thumbs up right now. We need to get those thumbs up. It really helps this chat run smoothly and gets it out there so more people can see this. And it's a good feeling of justice, in my opinion, in this. The justice system doesn't, every jury is different. You think of the O.J. Simpson case, you're like, oh, he got away with it, in my opinion. And I think most of America's opinion too, to be honest. But, and so you just never know what a jury's thinking. But this jury didn't have to think too long at all. Not too long at all. Within 2 hours and 50 minutes, they were like, knock, knock. Why not the death penalty? This was not a death penalty trial. That is the reason. That is the reason why this was not. And to be honest with you, South Carolina has the death penalty, but I don't even think they've put anyone to death in a while. There's still several states that has the death penalty. However, just because they have the death penalty, sometimes they're not even putting people to death, even though they have the death penalty, because of other factors, outside factors. You were right. Yes. Zen. Yes, you were right. I thought the jury would still be out even at this hour. But boy, was I ever wrong. Yeah, they were lightning fast. Texas all the time. All right, so we should be starting here soon. Let me just oh, God bless me. Sorry, guys. I was trying to find the other trying to find Court TV. Here we go. Just always trying to get the best picture for y'all. Maggie's 911 call about Glory. It's pretty sickening. Yeah, I mean it's a strange call as well. Justin, did you see the interview with one of the jurors this morning? I did not, but we will watch this after this if you want. I haven't seen that, but we'll play it absolutely. Court should be just starting any second now, so it's probably on something like ABC or something. Let me see here. Yeah, ABC. Okay. Justin, did you watch the interview with the escort? Still haven't watched that. I want to go over that though. Like, Paul said everything was, everything that came from that private plane was either an escort or a DRUG. Juror out 2.25 hours. Interesting. Okay. When the jury is quick. Yes, and that's what we were talking about last night. I was like, if the jury's quick, it's usually they've got their mind made up, they're in agreement, and it's usually in the favor of prosecution. Now, if that jury is out a long time, that is when you're sensing tension in that jury room. Someone is not, they're not bending. They're not bending what they believe beyond a reasonable doubt. And so when it goes a long time, that's when you're like, oh God, because all it takes is one. I wonder why Maggie's family was sitting on the defense's side. I don't know if they were like, I don't know her family that much, to be honest with you. I know this one of the sisters looks exactly like her almost. I heard the news at 2 hours if the court asked if they wanted dinner. They told them no and gave them a few more minutes because they were nearly there. Sure, how to work it out. I think sentencing will be minimal because each person needs justice. He has so many courts left to go through. Well, after 30 years is considered lifetime. It's considered a lifetime sentence in prison. But, he's facing up to 700 years just on the crimes, the financial crimes alone. They said 9 against 2 undecided and 1 non-vote, and then all agreed 7 men and 5 women. They said 9 against 2 undecided and 1 non-first vote, then all agreed 7 men. Oh, that's interesting. He's never getting out. Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see what Buster does with his future as well. How is he living? Is he living well? Where is he getting his money from? I wonder how much debt he racked up in jail already. I don't know. I don't think you can beat in debt in jail, can you? Yeah, put it on my prison bank card. They don't care what the other cases aren't finished yet. The rule of what charges are what found them guilty. That's right. Absolutely. Yay, Lisa. Making a Patreon account. He's cash only now. Oh, I bet it's yeah. I think they'll be watching him very, very closely for the next lifetime, to be quite honest with you, because where is he going? Is he going to some you know out of the country somewhere to stack up on money? Yes, but we also have to remember that Alex parents, it's Buster's and Paul's grandparents or their great grandparents. They left them in their will as well, and it is a significant amount from what I understand. They cannot touch that. They can never touch that money, and they can never touch any money that's out of the country. So that's why it's most likely, in my opinion, probably out of the country. His father's estate is worth tons, but his brother is in charge. Randy, yeah, and Randy might be one that they look into as well. I'm just saying. I don't know that, but I think some of the money he stole is somewhere, and the brothers and Buster probably know where it is. I don't know. I don't know why they're taking up for Ann Taylor, claiming she would never lie to a judge and risk her career. And I asked, you've never heard of a paid off judge? There's been paid off judges, absolutely. Absolutely. Or, a lot of people have judges in their pockets, politicians in their pockets, Alex also owes money to all the clients he stole from. Oh my God. Yeah. Let's see. Got 700K from his dad's death, is what reported yesterday. That's an incredible amount of money. Freemasons work. Freemason judges work for Freemasons. I heard the brother was the one who went and set the scene and her body and stuff to make it seem more homely. I don't know if Alec, after so many years, he may tell us the story, but some people, remain that they're innocent forever. Lots of political moves involved in the case. Retired AG set in front of Buster. Where are we not starting yet? Oh, hold on. It is starting. Hold on. Hold on.
His partners, his profession, but most of all, Maggie and Paul. This is a very complicated situation, and I want to offer my condolences to the family that has suffered here. We have tried very hard to be respectful and sensitive regardless of what position any person took, because this family has suffered and they've had to suffer in the public eye. And I want to offer my condolences to this family. I want to offer it for Maggie and Paul and Mr. Randolph too, who I had the pleasure of working with on one occasion. But the reality remains is that despite all this attention, this case is about Maggie Murdaugh and Paul Murdaugh, and I'm so thankful that the jurors gave them a voice. You heard about Paul. Obviously, there was the boat case, but you also heard him described as a fun-loving young man, a person who loved life, a person who would do anything for his friends, for anyone. And he was cut down as he was just starting to live his life. You heard about Maggie. You heard how sweet she was. You heard that she was a girl's girl who adapted to the outdoorsman life of her sons, how much she loved her sister and her brother-in-law and their children. And she was cut down in the prime of her life. Both of them, like everyone else, was unaware of who he really was. No one who thought they knew this man, no one who thought they were close to this man knew who he really was. And Your Honor, that's chilling. And I've looked in his eyes, and he liked to stare me down as he would walk by me during this trial. And I could see the real Alex Murdaugh when he looked at me. The depravity, the callousness, the selfishness of these crimes are stunning. The lack of remorse and the effortless way in which he lies, including here sitting right over there in this witness stand. Your Honor, a man like that, a man like this man, should never be allowed to be among free law-abiding citizens again. I would submit to you that the only just sentence here to give justice for Maggie and Paul is the maximum, and that would be 2 consecutive life sentences. Thank you, Your Honor.
You indicate that no victim would like to speak at this time. Would any victim like to speak at any time during these proceedings?
Your Honor, one of the things we did early on, obviously, as I just said, it's a very complicated situation, but we made the decision early on. We've had our victim advocate here who's been doing a wonderful job, regardless of the viewpoints of any individual family member, to provide aid and service to them, and we made that decision. I'm informed by our victim advocate that none of them wish to speak. The defense can certainly address that, but that's what I'm informed. But they certainly were offered the opportunity as is required, and I want to commend our victim advocate on the excellent job she did in handling this complex situation that we wanted to be sensitive to, because again, I am not, none of us are not mindful of the fact of the suffering of this family.
I noticed Flag Chief Mark Keel is here. Would you like to address the court on any matters, Chief?
No, sir. Just to say, again, very proud of our agents' work they've done. I'm proud of the partnership that we've had with the Attorney General's office as we've had for many years. And again, we're here to see the justice is served, and we believe it has been.
Thank you. For the defense.
Your Honor, Mr. Griffin and I would have no comment. The defendant would like to address the court, though.
Mr. Murdaugh.
Good morning, Your Honor. I'm innocent. I would never hurt my wife, Maggie, and I would never hurt my son, Paw.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Anything further?
I don't think further comment is necessary, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Murdaugh, if you'll come before the court for sentencing.
Here we go.
This has been perhaps one of the most troubling cases, not just for me as a judge, for the state, for the defense team, but for all of the citizens in this community, all the citizens in this state, and as we have seen based on the media coverage throughout the nation. You have a wife who's been killed, murdered, a son savagely murdered, a lawyer, a person from a respected family who has controlled justice in this community for over a century, a person whose grandfather's portrait hang at the back of the courthouse that I had to have ordered removed in order to ensure that a fair trial was had by both the state and the defense. And I've sat through the trial. Not only have I sat through the trial, but also as the presiding judge of the state grand jury, sat through and participated in the issuance of search warrants of various sorts, bond hearings, and have had to consider many things. And we have this case, and I'm also assigned to preside over 99 others, at least 99 other cases. Though testimony has come up regarding many of those other cases, I will not make any comment with regard to any other pending matter, as I have been assigned those cases as well. It's also particularly troubling, Mr. Murdaugh, because as a member of the legal community and a well-known member of the legal community, you've practiced law before me, and we've seen each other at various occasions throughout the years. And it was especially heartbreaking for me to see you go in the media from being a grieving father who lost a wife and a son to being the person indicted and convicted of killing them. And you've engaged in such duplicitous conduct here in the courtroom, here on the witness stand, and as established by the testimony throughout the time leading from the time of the indictment and prior to the indictment throughout the trial to this moment in time. Certainly, you have no obligation to say anything other than saying not guilty. And obviously, as appeals are probably expected or absolutely expected, I would not expect a confession of any kind. In fact, as I've presided over murder cases over the past 22 years, I have yet to find a defendant who could go there, who could go back to that moment in time when they decided to pull the trigger or to otherwise murder someone. I have not been able to get anyone, any defendant, even those who have confessed to being guilty, to go back and explain to me what happened at that moment in time when they opted to pull the trigger, when they opted to commit the most heinous crimes known to man. In this case, qualifies under our death penalty statute based on the statutory aggravating circumstances of two or more people being murdered by the defendant by one act or pursuant to one scheme or course of conduct. I don't question at all the decision of the state not to pursue the death penalty. But as I sit here in this courtroom and look around the many portraits of judges and other court officials and reflect on the fact that over the past century, your family, including you, have been prosecuting people here in this courtroom, and many have received the death penalty, probably for lesser conduct.
Yes.
Remind me of the expression you gave on the witness stand. Was it tangled?
Tangled web, we weave.
Oh, what tangled web we weave. What did you mean by that?
Meant when I lied, I continue to lie.
And the question is, when will it end? When will it end? And it's ended already for the jury because they've concluded that you continued to lie and lied throughout your testimony. And perhaps with all the throng of people here, they, for the most part, all believe, or 80, 90%, 99% believe that you continue to lie now when your statement of denial to the court. Perhaps you believe that it does not matter, that there's nothing that can mitigate a sentence given the crimes that were committed. You know, a notice of alibi was filed in this case by counsel in November, and we conducted a hearing, pretrial hearing, in which you claimed to have been someplace else at the time the crime was committed. Then, after all of the witnesses placed you at the scene of the crime, at the last minute, or last minutes or days, you switch courses and admitted to being there. And then that necessitated more lies and continued to lie. And I said, where will it end? It's already ended for many who have heard you and concluded that it'll never end. But within your own soul, you have to deal with that. And I know you have to see Paul and Maggie during the night times when you're attempting to go to sleep. I'm sure they come and visit you. I'm sure.
All day and every night.
Yeah, I'm sure. And they will continue to do so. And reflect on the last time they looked you in the eyes, as you looked the jury in the eyes. I don't know person who's always been such a gregarious, friendly person and cause your life to be tangled in such a weave, web, such a situation that yours have spun into. And it's so unfortunate because you had such a lovely family of such friendly people, including you, and to go from that to this. Your license to practice law has been stripped away from you. You turned from lawyer to witness, and now have an opportunity to make your final appeal as an ex-lawyer. And it's really surprising that you're waiving this right at this time. And if you opt to do so, it's on you. You're not compelled to say anything, but you have the opportunity to do so.
Judge, I tell you again, I respect this court, but I'm innocent. I would never, under any circumstances, hurt my wife, Maggie, and I would never, under any circumstances, hurt my son, Paul.
You can't admit it.
Well, and it might not have been you. It might have been the monster you become when you take 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 opioid pills. Maybe you become another person. I've seen that before. The person standing before me was not the person who committed the crime, though it's the same individual. We'll leave that at that. Before announcing sentence on these cases, with regard to all of the other pending cases, are any of them here in Colleton, or I'm sure some of them are?
Yes, sir.
Half of them, or?
I don't have that in front of me, but there are a substantial number of charges here. There's some in Hampton, Orangeburg, Beaufort, Allendale. There may be others I'm not thinking of right now.
We might have worn out our welcome here in Colleton.
Colleton's been great.
They have been, and I'll take this opportunity to thank Sheriff Hill and all of the court officials and really everyone I've met and dealt with while here in Colleton County. Just been great. But without any delay, we're going to schedule some of the other matters. I know Mr. Harpootlian's scheduling is complicated, and you've sacrificed quite a bit to be able to be here defending Mr. Murdaugh, as well as the Attorney General's office, with all the other many things and obligations you have. And to be able to have the Attorney General here, Alan Wilson, for the period of time that he's devoted to being here, along with everyone else, it's been quite a sacrifice. But there are other victims whose cases deserve to be heard. And this case has jumped some of those other cases, perhaps jumped it because of this case resulting in an assault on the integrity of the judicial system in our state, law enforcement in our state. Even during this trial, the law enforcement have been maligned for the past 5 or 6 weeks by one who had access to the wheels of justice, to be able to deflect the investigation. And as the evidence is pointed out in this case, the looming storm that Mr. Waters talked about, I can just imagine on that day, June 7th, when a lawyer is confronted and confesses to having stolen over $500,000 from a client, and he has a tiger like Mark Tinsley on his tail pursuing discovery in the case involving the death of Mallory Beach.
Motive.
And having a father, for the most part, on his deathbed. I could imagine, I really can't imagine, but I know it had to have been quite a bit going through your mind on that day. But amazingly, to have you come and testify that it was just another ordinary day, that my wife and son and I were out just enjoying life. Not credible, not believable. You can convince yourself about it, but obviously you have the inability to convince anyone else about that. So if you made any such arguments as a lawyer, you would lose every case like that. Cases you will never have an opportunity to argue anymore, except perhaps your own as you sit in the Department of Corrections. Anything further?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. Murdaugh, I sentence you to the State Department of Corrections on each of the murder indictments in the murder of your wife, Maggie Murdaugh. I sentence you for the term of the rest of your natural life for the murder of Paul Murdaugh, whom you probably love so much. I sentence you to prison for murdering him for the rest of your natural life. Those sentences will run consecutive. Under the statute involving possession of a weapon during a violent crime, there is no sentence where a life sentence is imposed on other indictments. That is the sentence of the court, and you are remanded to the State Department of Corrections. And officers may carry forth on the imposition.
My heart is beating so fast. Not a tear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Not a tear. Not one tear. He is sentenced. Alex Murdaugh is sentenced to 1 life sentence for the murder of his wife, Maggie Murdaugh. 1 life sentence to the murder of Paul Murdaugh. You can see his brother in the background speaking to some officer. The judge said, whom you probably love very much, meaning Paul Murdaugh. Alex cannot admit that he did this, even still.
Before we adjourn, an order was issued concerning maintaining the juror's identity being anonymous. That order was issued, and for the most part, it's been complied with, except for the jury leaving the courtroom yesterday, or not the jury, but the defendant leaving the courtroom while the jury is still seated. Protecting the identity of the jurors is certainly extremely important during the course of a trial to ensure that no one makes contact with the jury or attempts to influence the jury. Jurors have a right to continue that privacy beyond their jury service, but they're not obligated to do so. And it would not surprise me if jurors choose to come forward and to speak, and they're encouraged to do so if that is their desire. I have no problem whatsoever with the jurors unmasking themselves and speaking freely with the media, because they have undergone a life-changing experience as it relates to many of them. And some of them are here now, and I want them to know that should anyone attempt to harass them or annoy them, please let me know and I will address the issue. Secondly, there's a complaint now regarding the posting of autopsy photographs or photos that came from within the courtroom. It's based on the direction of the photographs. It did not come from the audience, came somehow from within the well of the court. The parties have requested an investigation of that. I have my hands full doing my job, and I don't attempt to conduct any investigations beyond the conducting of a trial, but to the extent that law enforcement decides to review that, will be a responsibility of law enforcement. Yes. And of course, one of the reasons we've sought to seal graphic photos because the parties have a right to privacy and a right to those matters not being publicly disclosed. If anyone has heard about the recent settlement that Kobe Bryant's, another sports analogy, Kobe Bryant's wife just made with Los Angeles County and others out there over certain disclosures of information involving the death of Kobe Bryant, liability can be substantial, and it's a risk for the most part that's not worth taking. So we'll let everyone judge themselves accordingly with that regard. Aside from all that, our business is done here in Colleton County, and I get to use my gavel one or few times during this trial and order that court be adjourned. Sine die.
All rise.
This judge has been phenomenal, to say the very least. Absolutely phenomenal. Prosecution has been great. So apparently someone is going to be in trouble for showing those autopsy photos. So we'll keep our eye on that as well. Yes, that's all, folks. But this story is far from over. There's going to be appeals and more appeals, and I would bet money that there's going to be more prosecuted outside of this, with other murders, in my opinion, of Stephen Smith, maybe a Gloria, but definitely a Stephen Smith. Yes, thank you so much, Cherry. I appreciate it. If you don't mind hitting that thumbs up button, it means a lot. The thing that got me is Alec just can't admit it. And I understand it would be the hardest thing to admit to. I get that, but that is where healing for the family can start. That is where it is all taken care of. And it's, I always say it's better to admit something like that now on this earth rather than have to admit it to God. You can take it to the court here, or you can take it to God later. Fix it in this life. Don't wait. Thank you, April. Thank you for Lily. The only living son is being looked at for murder, and it might be taken. Yeah, and there's. I'm telling you, there's going to be more. Yeah, no statement. Nobody made a statement. A victim impact speech. They've lived it. It's a shame, though. It took this to get. It is a shame. It is a shame. And that shows you what kind of influence and privilege Alec Murdaugh and his family had. They could make things go away. this all, remember what we are seeing today, it all stemmed out from the boating accident. That's right, Amy. That's right. Listen, trust me, we want to fix it in this life if we can. Fix it in this life if we can. Because you're going to have to fix it here, or you're going to have to fix it in the hereafter. And if you had a chance, and he clearly had multiple chances. You know, you can lie to humans, but you can't lie to God. To the bitter end. And he tried to blame those kids in the book. Yeah. And that shows you just the arrogance that he had. Really was, Glenda. It really was. It was a great documentary. Like he said, once he started lying, he couldn't stop, and there was too many messages for him to have cleared up and track that. He can't even keep track of his own lies anymore. Yeah. I'm heard the mom say Buster was not involved and they had 2 suspects. I have not heard her say that. All right, guys. Well, there we have it. It's over. It's over. Alex Murdaugh will spend the rest of his natural life in prison. This is not included on his charges that he has faced or will be facing over the same judge. By the way, the other judge will be presiding. This judge will be presiding over those cases as well. Yes, exactly, Jenny. Dateline is having a special. Oh, that's good. That's good. All right, guys. I appreciate you all. I'll be back in a little bit. I am tired. I need to get some coffee or something. The Rush trial, it's going to be crazy. And the Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell case is going to be nutso as well. Thank you all so much. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, as it means a world to me. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you very, very soon later today. Bye-bye. See you later.